Many of our problems is rooted in the way that we think about ourselves, our individual existence and our identity. Most of us think that we are this separate center of feeling and action, living in and bounded by this physical body that confronts this external world of people and things, that makes contact through its senses with a distant and alien universe that it feels like is separate from us. But our perception, from which we derive our awareness as living individual organisms, is a hallucination. It's a false and distorted perception. The I, the ego, myself, of what I identify myself with, is an illusion, because no matter how hard you try, how hard you think about it, you'll never find a satisfying answer to who you are. You'll never find a clear definition that fits everything into it. You're not your name, you're not your thoughts, your images, your ideas of yourself are not yourself. You're not your body, most people agree with this. You're also not your mind, your thoughts, those are not you. Your emotions are not you. You might be asking why though? Why I feel like I am my emotions, I am aware of them, but I give you two reasons. First, that you can't control any of these. You can eat certain foods, take certain supplements to make your body healthier, but you just can't control it directly. You can't really control directly your emotions. You can't really control your thoughts. If I tell you to not think of a pink elephant right now, do not think of a pink elephant. You can't really control that, can you? And the second reason is that they are always changing. Your body is always changing every minute, every second. Cells inside your body are being died and they are being created again. Your emotions are always changing. Your thoughts are going by like this. Even your consciousness changes. You go to sleep and whoop, it's gone. And if you identify with any of these, if you grasp on these as that I am my body, I am my thoughts, I am awareness, you cling on to them. And if you cling on to them, that means that the I that you identify with is always changing. This means that I 1 second ago was not who I am right now and won't be 1 second from now, and that completely contradicts our gut feeling of who we really are as this constant me, myself, who has been the same from the moment we were born. So we're just left with consciousness, pure awareness. And by the way, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just read a few books, watched a few videos, some random what, so don't take for granted what I'm saying. I'm still new to this, I just like to talk about it. But now we're left with consciousness, pure awareness, but I'm still hesitant to say that that is me. Because that also changes. We can also not control it. You can't just turn off your consciousness or anything like that. And if you do identify with your consciousness, that would mean that you basically die every time you go to sleep, and then you're reborn every time you wake up. And I'm not sure if that's what actually happens when you go to sleep, is that you are unconscious, or maybe you just can't, your memory doesn't function that way, but I'm still hesitant to say that. I don't think that, it doesn't feel right with me to say that I am just consciousness and pure awareness. So everything seems to point to the fact that this thing that I call myself is an illusion. That there doesn't seem to be something that we can really cling on to as ourselves, that our gut feelings tells us that we are this ego trapped inside this bag of skin. So what am I? Like, I can clearly feel and I am aware that I'm here, that I can love, that I can suffer. Well, let's talk about reality first, this whole universe. Because this whole problem of the I and this illusion comes from the fact that we separate ourselves from the rest of the world. We look at ourselves as a separate thing, and then there are other things outside of us. But in reality, there is no such thing as a separate thing, that I am separate from the whole rest of the universe. That's all just a construction of the mind. In reality, it doesn't exist. Because you see, we confuse reality as it is with reality as we think and talk about it. Because on the one hand, there is reality, and on the other hand, there is a whole construction and whole system of symbols around that reality. Now, these symbols are very useful in our everyday life, but the problem with them is that we confuse it with reality itself, just as we confuse money with actual wealth, or we confuse our name of ourselves, our ideas of ourselves, images, thoughts about ourselves with ourselves. Now you might ask, what do you mean by reality? Do you refer to a physical reality, a spiritual reality? Well, you see, when we talk about a physical world, a physical reality, that is a philosophical concept. Just in the same way when we say a spiritual world, that is also a philosophical concept. But reality is not a concept. Reality is just... we won't give it a name. I can even... that is reality. We don't give it a name. Because reality itself is not a concept. We cannot define it and put it into words. Because by naming something, we have to separate it. By naming something, we have to say that this is a cup. And for this to exist, there must be something that is not a cup. So you see, it is only our mind that separates these from each other. Because it's very beneficial for survival and anything. We need it. But it's not the way that reality it is actually. So a lot of things don't exist in reality. There is no such thing as events or things, but this doesn't mean that it's a completely perfect blank. How I like to look at it is this reality, this universe, is this marvelous system of riddles in which we describe things just the same way as we describe certain groups of stars as constellations. They are constellations in the mind's eye, but they are not already out there grouped. We pick them out as a constellation. So we describe certain riddles as trees. We pick out certain riddles as clouds. We pick out certain riddles and call them a house. We pick out certain riddles and call them myself. So the difference between myself and all things around me is just an idea. It's all a construction of the mind. So now this brings us to the fundamental doctrine of the Hindus. They didn't think about the soul in a Christian sense as an individual soul. It's immortal. They thought that the soul is not individual, in fact. They thought that the Atman, or what they use for the self, is completely identical with the Brahman. Now, the Brahman is the name they use for this ultimate reality that underlies this whole universe. It has no beginning, no end. It's indescribable. You cannot grasp it. It's completely boundless. You can even think about it as the ground of all being, the ultimate reality. But don't think of Brahman as this completely transparent jello that penetrates the whole universe. Because the whole idea of Brahman is missed when we make any image of it in our minds, even boundless light or just empty space. It is completely undescribable. It is not comprehensible. And they say that this Atman, the self, is completely identical with the Brahman. That you are this Brahman, this fundamental reality, the ground of being, life itself. That is you. And the reason why we can't comprehend it is because it is beyond our conceptual thinking. Just as water cannot rise above its own levels, thoughts cannot think of what is higher than thinking. It can't conceive the mind that thinks, yet alone the power that generates it. And our symbols and ideas of this Brahman is voidish and empty, but not at all because it is empty, this reality, or voidish. It is simply because every image and every thought that tries to grasp it is completely annihilated in the process. You cannot just grasp it, it falls out of your hands when you try to grasp it, because it's like trying to see your eye with your own eye, or trying to observe it, but we can't, because it is the observer that always slips out from being observed. And also, don't confuse this with some sort of blind force that just randomly things are happening, because one doesn't derive life and consciousness and feelings from just some blind force. So you are this Brahman. Everything is. It's like this great act or play in a theater, and we get so absorbed in it that we actually think that it's real. And in this play, it is this ultimate reality taking on different costumes and acting out this great movie. And in the process, we come to forget that we are also part of this great act. So yeah, I still don't know what I'm talking about. I'm still just trying to comprehend all of this, and still on the beginning trying to really get to feel this and not just know it, because it's completely two different things. Knowing this intellectually, that your ego is just an illusion, and feeling it, feeling this inseparability from the universe. It's like trying to see your own eye, or trying to describe the color of the mirror by the colors it reflects. So I hope that you like this video. I enjoyed making it. If you want more videos like this, leave a comment. I'm also doing free calls. If you're interested, you have any questions, if you want any advice, whatever, you can send me an email, it's in the description. So yeah, I hope that you like this video. If you like these kind of videos, you can also subscribe, join this journey. Have a great day and goodbye.